Hello there, welcome to Augmentech. In this session, we are going to discuss about methods and equipment in firefighting. After the end of this lecture, you would be able to understand basics of firefighting, then major goals of using firefighting systems, then about firefighting system, then the components of fire protection, principles of fire extinction, then about firefighting codes, then methods and equipment in firefighting system. So let's start. Now, what is firefighting? So firefighting is the act of attempting to prevent the spread of fire and extinguish significant unwanted fires in buildings, vehicles, etc. So basically, a firefighting system is an activity of prevention during a fire spread in building, home or warehouse. With the use of proper fire safety equipment like fire extinguisher or automatic sprinkler system, fire hydrant, you can extinguish fire easily. So there are many advantages of this firefighting. So with the help of this firefighting, you can reduce the risk of death, then you can save the life of people, then we can reduce the risk of damage of our properties, we can increase the value of our properties. Okay, so there are many advantages of firefighting. Now the major goals of using firefighting system is what? First is continuity of operation. It means an effort within individual executive departments and agency to ensure that primary mission essential functions continue to be performed during a wide range of emergencies, including localized act of nature, accidents, and technological emergencies. Okay. Now the second goal of using firefighting system is property protection. So can you tell me how to prevent this property damage in case of fire? So for that what we have to do? We have to design the structure to slow the spread of fire. For example, we have to place self-closing fire doors and we have to install fire dampers in the duct work. Okay. When you install this fire damper in the duct work, so it can be slow the spread of fire. Okay. Then we have to follow important safety protocol also. So for that we have to clean up dust and debris, all these things. Then we have to store flammable materials properly, okay, as per standard usha or any standards. Next thing what we have to do to save to protect our property, for that the right firefighting equipment on hand. We have the right firefighting equipment on hand. For example, just a fire extinguisher, fire blanket, all this thing. Then we have to install automatic fire protection equipment also. For example, automatic sprinkler system, and we have hose system also, standpipe system. So all these things we have to install to protect property. Okay. Now, the third goals of using firefighting system is life safety. So it is very important. Our target is what? We have why we are using firefighting system. The main goal is we have to save life. So in case a fire break out, so first of all call 101 immediately. The sooner you call, the shorter will be the response time. If there is no smoke, so just walk quickly to the nearest exit. Okay. Do not ever go for the elevator, and wet all the walls, doors and windows, and keep a wet cloth over your nose and mouth, because we know that smoke, in fire we have smoke, and smoke travel with the speed of 120 to 420 fpm. So smoke generally enter in our nose, so we have to keep a wet cloth over your nose and mouth, because smoke is very harmful and toxic gases. Okay. So in this, these are the three main goals of using firefighting system. Now what is firefighting system? So firefighting is the attempt to minimize injury or loss of life or damage to property caused by a fire. So how we can save life and these properties? So for that, what we have to do, either by extinguishing the fire or ensuring its containment, you can save life also and property also. So here we have to follow some guidelines to extinguish fire, so you can easily save life and property. Suppose if you fail to extinguish the fire and smoke is accumulating, get out of the house quickly first of all. Okay, because what happened, these poisonous gases and smoke are more dangerous than flames. And then call the fire department immediately. For that we have to keep the phone number of your local fire department. Okay, because this fire department will determine if the fire has been contained or if it has spread. Once the fire start, the fire tetrahedron model shows that it will continue to burn until first all the fuel or oxygen has been used. So we know that a fire will continue to burn until this fuel or oxygen has been used. Okay. Second, fire will continue to burn until all the fuel and oxygen have been removed. So how can we remove this fuel from fire? So removing of fuel decreases the heat. Without sufficient oxygen, a fire cannot begin and it cannot continue. Okay. So if you want to stop fire, so we have to remove this fuel from fire. Next, again, fire will continue to burn until the temperature of the material is reduced below ignition temperature. Okay, suppose if you have any combustible, solid combustible material in your room, in anywhere, so on that time if you want to stop that fire, they are burning, suppose we have some solid material, solid combustible material, and that material is burning. So if you want to stop burning, so what we have to do, we have to do the temperature of that material we have to reduce the temperature of that material below ignition temperature. Okay, now the fourth point is the chain reaction is broken by reducing the number of excited molecules. As we know that four elements must be present for fire to occur. What are they? Fuel, heat, oxygen, and a chemical chain reaction. Removal of any one of these elements will result in the fire being extinguished. Okay. So this is all about firefighting system. Okay. Fire protection components. So what is the purpose of these fire protection components? So the basic purpose of fire protection components is to protect a building occupants and minimize the damage associated with fire. So here we have a different types of fire protection components. So in that, first is fire rated wall. So why we are using fire rated wall in our building? So for that, because this fire rated wall prevents spread of fire, smoke and harmful gases, okay, across the wall in the event of fire. Okay, so there are many benefits of this fire rated wall. First of all, it has ability to act as a fire barrier and it reduce the spread of fire to neighboring spaces. Okay, so while designing a firefighting system, so we have to install this fire rated wall also. Okay, now the second component is fire detection and alarm system. So here the aim of this fire detection and alarm system is to make an early warning indicating that the building has a fire and to allow people to get out from the building. Okay, and it's give a signal to the firefighting system also to start working. Either it is a fire automatic sprinkler system with the help of smoke detectors, heat detectors. So these all are the fire detection or fire alarm system. Either it is a smoke detector, heat detector, manual call points. Okay, so this is about fire alarm system. Now the third component is firefighting system. So as we know that a firefighting system is an activity of prevention during a fire spread in buildings, homes or warehouse. with the use of proper fire safety equipment like extinguisher, hose reels, fire monitor, nozzle and hose pipe, etc. Okay, so we can extinguish easily fire. Now the fourth component is what here? Firefighters. So basically these firefighters are trained to control and put out fire. What happens? They connect hoses to fire hydrant and operate pumps to power the hoses to help control the fire. So these are the fire protection components. Now the next topic is principle of fire extinction. So as you know that fire occurs when three parameters fuel, oxygen and heat are present. If you remove one of that parameter, so what happens? Fire stop. So we are using fire extinguisher to extinguish the fire. So here there are basic principles on which fire extinguishers work. In that, first is starvation. So what do you mean by starvation here? It involves the removal of fuel from the skin of fire. Okay, in this starvation only we have two system. First is our gas system. So generally a gas extinguishing system is a fire extinguishing system that extinguishes fire with the help of a gaseous extinguishing agent, either through oxygen displacement or physical effect. Okay, so this system are activated by a smoke detection system that detect the presence of smoke. Okay, so this is about our gas system. Now the second is our foam system. So foam system is what here? Foam suppression system is an extinguishing agent that can extinguish flammable or combustible liquid by cooling. So I think you all of you know about flammable liquid. Okay, flammable liquid, simple a liquid which can be easily ignited in air at ambient temperature. So if you want to extinguish that type of fire which occurs in that flammable liquid, so we have to use foam system. Okay. Now the second point is smothering. So here what is mean by smothering? So it involves the removal of oxygen or decreasing presence of oxygen. So how to remove oxygen from the fire? So removal of oxygen can be achieved with a carbon dioxide extinguisher. So with the help of carbon dioxide extinguisher, you can easily remove oxygen from the fire. Okay. Now the third point is cooling. So what is cooling here? It involves the process of reducing heat or removal of heat. So how can you remove heat from the fire? Simply with the help of water, because water is the best extinguishing agent to extinguish or you can say to reduce the heat. Okay, but remember here for electrical fire we cannot use water. Okay, if you use water, so what happen on that time? They cause electrical shock. Okay, and in metal also we do not use that water to extinguish fire. Okay, same thing for oil fire also, because if you use water for metals and for oil fires, so what happen? They increase the size of the fire. Okay, so we have to see, we for combustible material is okay, you can use water. Okay, but for electrical and for oil fires and for metals fire we cannot use water. Okay, but for other water is the best extinguishing agent. Okay, so these three are the basic principle on which fire extinguisher works. So hope all of you understand about this principle of fire extinction. Now we are going to discuss about firefighting codes. So the codes followed for firefighting system is generally NFPA standard. Okay, NFPA stands for National Fire Protection Association. So what do you mean by this NFPA? So NFPA is a global organization established in 1996. Okay, devoted to eliminating death, injury, property in case of fire. Okay, so here we have a different standards. So see one by one. First is NFPA 1. So NFPA 1 is for fire code. Okay, In fire code, we get minimum requirement to prevent fire and explosion hazards. Now the next is NFPA 10. So NFPA 10 is a standard for portable fire extinguishers. Okay, in this portable fire extinguisher, in this standard, we get the detail about installation of portable fire extinguisher and inspection, maintenance detail, selection, operation, distribution. So all this detail now we get from this NFPA 10 only. Okay. Now the next is NFPA 11. This NFPA 11 is a standard for low, medium and high expansion foam. This standard covers the design, installation, operation, testing and maintenance of low, medium and high foam system for protection. Okay. Now the next is NFPA 12. So NFPA 12 is a standard on carbon dioxide extinguishing system. So this standard contains a requirement for carbon dioxide fire extinguishing system to help ensure that such equipment will function as intended throughout its life. Okay. Now the next is NFPA 13. NFPA 13 is the standard for the installation of sprinkler system. So this standard covers the design and installation of automatic fire sprinkler system. Now the next standard is NFPA 14. So this NFPA 14 is a standard for the installation of standpipe and hose system. NFPA 14 provides requirement for the installation of standpipes and hose system to ensure that a system will work as intended to deliver adequate water supply in a fire emergency. Now the next is NFPA 15. So NFPA 15 is a standard for water spray fixed system for fire protection. So this NFPA 15 provides minimum requirements for the design, installation, etc. Okay. Now the next is NFPA 16. So NFPA 16 is a standard for the installation of foam water sprinkler and foam water spray system. Okay. Now NFPA 20 is a standard for the installation of stationary pumps for fire protection. So this NFPA 20 protects life and property by providing requirements for the selection and installation of pumps. Okay. Now NFPA 14, oh sorry, NFPA 24. So NFPA 24 is a standard for the installation of private fire service mains and their appurtenances. Okay. Now NFPA 25. So NFPA 25 is what here? Just this NFPA 25 is a standard for the inspection, testing and maintenance of water-based fire protection system. So this NFPA 25 is the baseline for inspection, testing and maintenance of water-based fire protection system. Okay. Now we have NFPA 101. So this NFPA 101 is a standard for life safety code. Okay. This NFPA 101 is used to protect people based on building construction, protection and occupancy features that minimize the effect of fire. Now NFPA 220. So this is standard on types of building construction. So this standard promotes protection from fire and its associated hazards by defining types of building construction. Okay. Now NFPA 409. So NFPA 409 is a standard on aircraft hangars. This standard helps safeguard life and property through requirement for the proper construction and fire protection of aircraft hangars. Okay. Now we have NFPA 418. So NFPA 418 is standard for heliports. Then NFPA 750 is a standard on water mist fire protection system. So this standard describes design, installation, maintenance and testing requirements for water mist fire protection system. Now the last is NFPA 2001. So this is standard on clean agent fire extinguishing system. So these all about our firefighting codes and standards. Okay, so hope all of you understand about these standards, NFPA standards. Firefighting system, methods and equipment. Firefighting involves a range of methods and equipment for fighting fires, depending on the circumstances and availability. In that, first is water. The standard method is to pour water onto the fire. So when you use water on fire, what happens? This reduces the heat, hopefully to the point that the fire can no longer burn. So water is not suitable for liquid fuel. Remember here, we do not use water for extinguish a liquid fuel fire, just like flammable liquids, petrol, diesel. So for that we have to use just dry powder type of extinguishing agent. Okay, because if you use water, so on what happen? They just increase the size of the fire. Okay, here is written because it is likely to spread the fire and make the fire larger. See, here is written if you use water for liquid fuel fire, just suppose in petrol, diesel, if fire occurs on petrol, diesel, on that time if you use water, so what happen here? Likely to spread the fuel and make the fire larger. And it is telling that nor for electrical fire also, we do not use water for electrical fire because of the risk of electric shock. And here one more thing you have to remember, that water is also not used for oil fire also. Okay, because they also cause they also increase the size of the fire. So this is our first point about water. It consists of three basic parts. First is what? Storage tank. So the water is usually stored in concrete underground tanks. As we know, it is essential to ensure that this store of water always remains full. So it must have no outlets apart from the ones that lead to the fire pumps. So these tanks are separate from the tank used to supply water to occupants, which are usually called domestic water tank. Okay. So designer will also try and ensure that the water in the fire tanks does not get stagnant and develop algae, which could clog the pipes and pumps. Okay, so rendering the system useless in a fire. Now the second is pumping system. So fire pump are usually housed in a pump room very close to the fire tanks. So the key thing is that the pumps should be located at a level just below the bottom of the fire tank so that all the water in the tanks can flow into the pump by gravity. Okay. Now the third is distribution system. The distribution system consists of steel or galvanized steel pipes that are painted red. Okay. So these can be welded together to make secure joints or attached with special clamps. When running underground, they are wrapped with a special coating that prevent corrosion and protect the pipe also. Now the second is foam. So what is foam here? The foam in foam fire suppression system is an extinguishing agent, okay, that can extinguish flammable or combustible liquid by cooling and separating the ignition source from the fire. Okay, here with the help of this foam fire suppression, you can extinguish that type of fire. Suppose if fire occurs in flammable liquid like if fire in petrol, if fire occurs, so on that time with the help of this foam suppression system you can easily extinguish that fire. Okay, so here it written firefighting foam is a foam used for fire suppression. Its role is to cool the fire and to coat the fuel, preventing its contact with oxygen, resulting in suppression of the combustion. So it works by preventing oxygen getting to the fire, but does not spread the fuel around. Okay, remember this thing. Generally, a firefighting foam is simply a stable mass of small air-filled bubbles which have a lower density than oil, gasoline or water. So here remember the density of this foam is lower than oil. Okay, so that is why you can easily extinguish fire with the help of this foam. Okay, because the density of oil and this gasoline are higher than foam. Now here foam is made up of three ingredients. What are they? First, water, foam concentrate, and third is air. Okay. Now the third is powder. So generally this powder is used on electrical fires. Why we are using powder in electrical fire? Because it does not conduct electricity. Okay. So remember here this point is very important point. Now this extinguishing powder used in powder extinguishing system are highly efficient quick acting extinguishers. The sudden extinguishing effect of the powder cloud is caused by the suffocation effect and the anti-catalytic effect, a chemical intervention into the combustion process. Extinguishing powders mainly consist of non-poisonous inorganic salts mixed with waterproofing and pouring agents. They are used for fire with solid, liquid or gaseous substances and for metal fire also. So this powder type of extinguishing agent you can use in solid combustible if fire occurs on solid combustible material, flammable liquid and flammable gases, or either in metal fire also you can use powder type of fire extinguisher. So it is best to extinguish all this fire. Okay. Now the fourth is gas. Okay, so where we have to use these gas extinguishing agents. So typical area of use include all types of electrical switch rooms, IT rooms and server rooms. Okay, here is written gas extinguishing systems are used when water, foam or powder extinguishing system are not effective, or you can say if extinguishing with the above mentioned extinguishing agent could cause significant damage. Okay, as we know that a gas extinguishing system is a fire extinguishing system that extinguishes fire with the help of a gaseous extinguishing agent, either through oxygen displacement or through physical effect. Okay. However, because the oxygen is displaced from the building, what happened on that time? Humans are unable to survive for long. So that is why these gas system are only used in special circumstances. Okay. Here is written non-combustible gases are sometimes used in fire suppression systems installed in buildings. They work by being heavier than air, thus displacing the oxygen. So due to its physical properties, carbon dioxide is the only extinguishing gas that is also used in fire extinguishers and fire extinguishing devices. Now, in which area this gas extinguishing system is used? So basically in IT system and computer rooms, you can say, and archive rooms, document safes, art galleries, libraries and medical sector also this type of gas suppression system are using, and in industrial facilities such as laboratories, control rooms, offshore drilling platform, robotic equipment. Then we have a emergency powder generator, battery compartment. So in this area you can use this gas suppression system to extinguish the fire. Okay, now the next point is vehicles. Okay, so there are various vehicles are used by firefighters including trucks which pumps water from a nearby supply onto a fire, and we are using tanker also which carry water to the site of the fire when no local supply is available. Now, the sixth point is airplane. So, when you see in this figure, here both fixed and rotary wings, airplanes or helicopters, are used to drop water onto fires, particularly in area difficult to reach on the ground. So if fire occurs on that area which is difficult to reach on the ground, suppose if fire occurs in forest, so on that time what we have to do, with the help of this helicopter, you can drop water onto fire and easily we extinguish that fire. So these are the six methods and equipment to extinguish fire easily. So hope all of you understand about this firefighting system methods and equipment. So in this session, the topics which we have covered, first is basics of firefighting, then major goals of using firefighting, then we have learned about firefighting systems, then fire protection components, what are the components of that fire protection, then we have seen principles of fire extinction, then about firefighting codes, then methods and equipment. Okay, so this was all about firefighting. I hope you enjoy this session. See you again in next one.